Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So great news, Wyoming have decided to forfeit again. Along with Boise State, they are forfeiting their match against San José State University because that university has a male volleyball player. It was announced yesterday, just a very simple statement, their usual forfeiting statements saying as per Mountain West, this counts as a forfeit. They said the University of Wyoming volleyball team will not play its scheduled conference match at San José State University on Thursday, November 14. Per Mountain West conference policy, the conference will record the match as a forfeit and a loss for Wyoming. So only 6 teams go on to the Mountain West Conference, and then you can qualify for the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, Wyoming is 7th, so this is a huge loss for them. This could not have been easy for them, because they're hurting their chances of progressing further and qualifying for the NCAA tournament. This was a big loss for the Cowgirls to take because they are currently 7th in the Mountain West Conference standings. Only the top 6 teams in the regular season advance to the conference tournament, where the winner receives an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Despite the repercussions, the team and school decided to put the safety of its women volleyball team and fairness in women's sports above trying to compete in the Mountain West Championship. They know the consequences of forfeiting this match. The majority of them are on scholarships. Playing at this level is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is what they're in school to do, is to study and to play volleyball. So to miss out on a match, it has huge consequences. So to forfeit this match, to take this loss, and then to potentially not go on to qualify for the conference, when they need to be winning right now, they need to be fighting to keep their place, I'm sure it's not easy for them. And again, I always say these girls should not have to go through this. But it's very commendable that they're continuing on with the forfeits. Unfortunately for Wyoming and Boise State, that means 2 forfeits, that means 2 losses. Both teams are taking a huge hit in forfeiting twice. But that shows in no uncertain terms how important this is to them. That women's safety, women's sports being fair is more important to them than tournaments, than winning. Even more important to them than participating in these matches. And it's very selfless too, I would say, because they're putting aside their interests and looking out for the interests of other female athletes, of the female athletes who are going to be part of this conference, who are going to be competing in this conference well after they graduate and move on with their lives. So I think it's very selfless. I think it's very commendable what they're doing. Again, thank you, Wyoming. Thank you, Boise State, for everything you're doing to save women's sports, for everything you're doing for fairness, and of course the other teams. This is a wonderful act of unity. There is so much power behind that. If it's just one team, it doesn't have as much impact, although it certainly has an impact and it would be appreciated even if it was just one team. But to have 5 teams refuse to compete under these circumstances, this is what is really going to move the needle. But now, with a new president, things are going to be changing anyway when it comes to Title IX and allowing this in the first place. So there's hope for women's sports. And hopefully we won't be dealing with this in the near future. And common sense will be restored to our colleges, on campus, in our sports. Let's hope that women will have their own spaces, that women will have their own sports, free of males. And that boys and men get their own spaces too. These spaces were there for a reason, and categories in sports were introduced for a reason. Let's have no more women being excluded, whether that's self-exclusion or being excluded because they don't want to compete against male athletes, because they're being punished, because they've been suspended. Let's hope all of that comes to an end. But it's about time. We shouldn't have young women who should be enjoying themselves, who should be enjoying playing the sport that they love and focusing on their studies rather than focusing on court cases, forfeits, suspensions, repercussions from doing these things, colleges not supporting them. They shouldn't be going through this. Sports is supposed to be fun. Yes, there's a lot of pressure, and they're there on scholarships, many of them, so there's a lot at stake. And they shouldn't have to choose between playing against male athletes and their scholarships. And their spot shouldn't be taken by a male athlete. As it was reported as part of the complaint that was filed by the associate head coach of SJSU. The male athlete took the spot of a female athlete. This person was chosen in the place of a female. She went on to play somewhere else, and I hope she's doing well. But that should not be happening. Everybody should play in the correct category. And if there has to be an open category, a third category created, fine. But if we continue to blur categories, it's only a matter of time before we have another Peyton McNabb situation. No woman should have to take that risk just to participate. That in itself is exclusion. So as of now, Nevada is unlikely to reach the conference tournament. Utah State and Boise State are in the 4th and 6th place, respectively. If the season ended today, both schools would be invited to the Mountain West tournament. So at least those schools are in good shape. Would they choose to forfeit a conference tournament match, should one occur, against San José State and Blair Fleming, which would end their seasons? We don't know that right now, but the possibility is out there. So what's happening is the more these schools progress further, the more there is at stake, and the bigger the repercussions of the forfeits. I'm guessing they're taking it one forfeit at a time and just focusing on the next match. So it must be very difficult for them. It's a very difficult decision, but at the same time, it seems like they're very committed. And when it comes to the next season, Mountain West Conference will have no choice but to reevaluate the way they conduct their conference when it comes to the categories. They would have no choice, especially with changes coming now, hopefully, that Trump will implement. They will have no choice. But these sporting bodies need to understand that the more they allow male athletes in women's competition, the more it excludes women. And that's not acceptable. I don't think anybody should be excluded from sports. If you qualify to compete at this level, then you should be allowed to compete. But you have to compete in the correct category. You don't have the right to jeopardize other people's safety. These schools are going to be known historically for these forfeits. And people are going to look back and admire the tenacity of these young female athletes. People are going to look back and be thankful that the schools supported them, that the state governors supported them. Nevada, I don't know what happened there, but the girls are still receiving a lot of support elsewhere. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.